today I'm going to be filming my labor and delivery story time video. I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted to see this video or another one, and you all wanted to see this one, so I am filming it for you. I have everything listed of like what all went down because it's kind of hard to remember off the top of my head just because it was such a hectic day. So I'm going to be looking down at my iPad for some of it, but let's get into the story time. Alright, so it all starts on April 8th, 2020. And I went in for my weekly checkup with my OBGYN, and actually at this time, if you watch my pregnancy video, Emerson was sitting on my sciatic nerve, and she had been on it for a few weeks. I don't really remember how long she was on it. I told my doctor about it, and she kind of was like, okay, well, you're going to be 39 weeks on Sunday. How about the Monday I'm in on call, how about we just induce you? So she brought up the option of me being induced, and I was kind of at that point in your pregnancy where you just want the baby out, you want to see your baby, and I was in a lot of pain with my sciatic nerve, so I was like, yeah, let's get induced on Monday. It was Easter the day before we went into the hospitals. That weekend saw my mom and my grandma, just them. And then we came back, so we spent Easter just us two. We cleaned the whole house, we got everything ready, we got all the bags double checked, everything that we needed to bring double checked. It was very hectic on that day. Then Monday morning came. We had to be there at 7 a.m. So we get there right at 7 a.m., get up into labor and delivery, we have to fill out some paperwork, and it was a pretty quick process after that. After we got into the room and everything, they were doing more paperwork and putting my IV in at the same time. The lady that put my IV in did a phenomenal job. I even told her that, and I hate needles, and it was like I barely even felt it. Something I want to make very clear in this video is I was very adamant on not having an epidural. I just read a lot of bad things about it, and my personal opinion is I preferred to not have the epidural. I did have to sign a paper saying if I did want an epidural, they could give it to me, but at this point in time, I was very adamant on no epidural. They gave me the Pitocin at around 8:10, so I had been there for about an hour or so, just getting checked in, all the paperwork, the IVs, and all that. Then about 35-40 minutes later, they decided to break my water because it wasn't naturally breaking. So they broke my water around 8:45, 9 o'clock, and right after they broke my water, everything started to move quite quickly. My contractions got really strong around 10:30, 11, and that's when I was like, maybe I should have been like, I want the epidural. But they did give me the option for IV drugs. Now, I don't know exactly the kind of drugs I don't remember the drugs they gave me in the beginning, but I was out for about an hour and a half, and I was living on cloud nine. I had no pain. It was great. I do remember one like little snippet of me. I was like this in the bed, and I lifted my head. Corey was sitting in the chair just playing on his phone, you know, minding his own business, and I just yelled, "Shut up!" And he looks at me like, I don't know why I did it. I was under the influence of prescribed drugs. I really honestly don't know why I did that. And then I do remember trying to text my mom, and I couldn't, so she was like out of the loop for like an hour and a half while I was just like conked. When they did give me the IV drugs, I was dilated to a 5, and then that started to wear off, and they gave me another round of IV drugs, another different type of drug, and that did absolutely nothing. And I was dilated to about a 6, 6.5 at this time. And I was in so much pain, I was screaming. They were telling me to be quiet, you need to breathe, you know, all this. The nurse basically told me, you know, you're in so much pain, why don't you want to get this epidural? And I had told her my reasons of why I don't want to get it. She said, no, it'll be okay, it's fine. And I was kind of at this point, I was in so much pain that I was like, fine, get me the epidural. Well, it took the anesthesiologist 30 minutes to get into my room, and by the time he got there, I was already dilated to an 8.5. They really told me I should have gotten it before I was dilated to an 8. And he told me I had to sit up on the side of the bed. Well, I could not move. I was like hunched over, on my side, and they said that they could give it to me laying down, but it wasn't ideal. And at this time, I couldn't answer any of the questions he was asking me. I was in so much pain, and it kind of got to the point where I was just like, I don't even want this epidural. If it's not ideal to do it while I'm laying down, then just leave. I don't want it. So the anesthesiologist left. 10 minutes later, after the anesthesiologist left, I was dilated to a 10, and then I could start pushing. So I pushed for 23 minutes, and keep in mind, I had no drugs in me. All the IV drugs wore off, and I did no epidural. So after 23 minutes at 1:57 p.m., Emerson Grace was born, and I did it completely natural. I mean, I did have drugs previous, but they completely all wore off before she came. So I was in labor for about 6 hours, which was a super quick process, what the doctors told me. They said that I was super lucky, and I only pushed for 23 minutes, so they were like, you go girl. So while giving birth, I did tear. I think I teared in 2 places. Up. So not down, up. I really don't remember the pain. When people ask me to describe it, I seriously can't, because it's kind of all these emotions are going on all at the same time as you giving birth, and then you just kind of forget about it because you have your baby in your arms. So that's just kind of how I feel about the whole situation. Emerson did weigh 7 pounds 9 ounces. She was 19¼ inches long. I'll insert some pictures of her after she was born. So I'm going to talk about my stay in the hospital, just because I did give birth during the whole pandemic. Croy was the only one allowed in the delivery room, and we were allowed no visitors while staying up in the maternity ward, like after you move from labor and delivery up into your room. So it was just me, him, and Emerson after everything was said and done, which I really preferred it like that, just because we got our alone time with her. We got to learn a few things, and I got to just regain all of my, well, not all of my strength, but I got to regain some strength, and I didn't have to entertain people. Since we could have no visitors and like the whole pandemic and everything, they were really trying to keep the baby in the room and not in the nursery unless it needed to be, which I actually really liked, just because I got to just be with her for those first 24 hours, and I really liked it. She was only gone from me for probably an hour at the most, doing like all her tests and everything. So that is everything of my labor and delivery story. It's not a crazy story. I just think it's very cool that I did give birth completely naturally, and I'm very proud of myself because I do have a very, very, very low pain tolerance. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you are not. And I would love to know your labor and delivery stories down below. You can also message me questions that I didn't answer in this. If you have more questions on Instagram, I will reply to you guys. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye guys!